So thank you for agreeing to meet with me and talk, even though it's not meeting per se, but thank you. So you are the South African Church of Satanism. No, not. The South African Satanic Church.
There we go.
Yes. Not to be confused with the Church of Satanism or the Satanic Temple.
Yes.
That's something you try to distinguish very clearly. Yes. And I had a question from someone to ask why it is that you want to make that distinction so clear.
So one of the biggest reasons is because Church of Satan is a recognized organization within America, as well as the Satanic Temple. And we've made it clear from the beginning we're not affiliated with them, just for that main reason. The other part as well that I feel very strongly about is the term Church of Satan has been used in South Africa to sort of, whenever there were criminal behaviors in the past being blamed on Satanism, they always say Church of Satan without fact-checking. And so that's the biggest reasons. And also Church of Satan doesn't allow for any other chapters anywhere else in the world except for the American chapter. And the Satanic Temple has their different chapters, but they're more atheistic or atheist organization, not sort of in the sense where they practice the occult like we do. And so that's the big difference.
And your TST or the Satanic Temple is very much a political organization, and they are also fighting for a lot of rights that we already have in our constitution.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you base a lot of your beliefs on the Satanic Bible. And your website shows the 9 satanic statements that are featured in the Satanic Bible. So I had a question come in about where your other beliefs in the occult come from. So if there are texts that you use to base your beliefs on, or where this element to your church comes in.
So I just want to also mention that not every member of our congregation practices the occult, but the majority of our members do. And then most of our rituals, I'm not talking about ceremonies, which is something different, but most of our gatherings, meaning our rituals, it's practicing the occult. So the occult is made up of various texts. In the Satanic Bible itself, there is also occult rituals. So if we talk about our 3 main type of rituals, you can also find that in the Satanic Bible. But of course, Satanism is a very much an individual's expression of how we would practice Satanic philosophy or magic. All our rituals are tailor-made. So before every ritual, the people involved in it would be writing it together. So there's not necessarily a
structured sense of this is how things are going to go. There's the outlines as set in the Satanic Bible, but how you express that in that sense. Obviously, you're following still the sort of rules in air quotes, because it's not like that, but in sense of following what the Bible says, there's a personal expression. And Satanism is very open to that sense of personal expression in that sense.
Right.
Why we're choosing to align with the Satanic Bible is because there are certain, again, rules in what your boundaries are in that, again. But it is that personal expression. So every Satanist normally also comes across Satanism through a spiritual journey of some sort. And that is where that experience with occult, meditation, tarot, astrology, numerology, all of that starts coming in as well. And that there's no text specifically saying this is how you practice occultism. It's a person's experience of it.
And also because Satanism is about undefiled wisdom. The occult is a doorway towards yourself, to understanding yourself completely. The things that we don't necessarily see with our cognitive minds, we can access with practicing the occult.
Yeah.
Okay. And I understand that you've said that some of your rituals are very personal and private, and that's why only some people are allowed to join. But could you maybe give an example of what a ritual would be like? What types of things happen? Just to give people a more realistic idea of what a satanic ritual is, rather than media's portrayal.
Sure.
Okay, so basically there's three main rituals as defined in the Satanic Bible, and that is based on the outcome that you wish to have. And then how you structure that ritual, again, like Riaan said, is based on the people that's in there. But one of them would be the ritual for compassion. So the compassion ritual is in order to put something forward for someone to gain a sense of success, be it someone else that you have compassion for or for yourself. So that can be something as simple as writing on a piece of paper what it is you wish to achieve or have success in, be it a new job or be it happiness or marriage happiness or things that, would bring success. Writing on a piece of paper and, for instance, lighting a candle with it and then in a group saying affirmations towards it. So I am worthy of the success. I have the success. The success is mine. Sure. To sort of raise that energy. Sometimes we use some drums, sometimes a singing bowl, something in that sense of raising energy. So in a satanic ritual, there's always going to be the concept of people coming together. A lot of Satanists also practice by themselves, but in this context, with people coming together, the sense of social and unity, then it will be the sense of putting forward what it is we wish to achieve. For instance, like writing the intention. Then it will be a sense of raising energy, which is the drumming or the music or chanting or singing or dancing or affirmations. And then it will be the part of where we are releasing it in the sense of done what we can do now and we're putting it out there and now we're following forwards in how energy is the ripple effect of that energy. So we've got the compassion one. Then we have the destruction ritual, which is also highly misunderstood currently. But the destruction ritual is basically a sense of creating a safe space in which you can express emotions that if you don't express those emotions become destructive to the self. So think about anger, think about fear, think those type of emotions. If you don't express it, you bottle it up and then there's the chance of you lashing out or expressing it in a different way or holding it in completely and it manifests in anxiety, depression, or even illness in that way. Sure. So with that ritual, again, you would put something forward, either writing a really angry letter or have an object that represents the thing that you're angry at. And then the easiest way for most people is just to burn it in the sense of transformation of the process, but the aspect of it is expressing that toxic emotion. So once you are part of the ritual space, you don't sit with that baggage, emotional baggage, and you've expressed it in a safe, controlled environment where nobody gets hurt in that sense. And then there is another ritual that's also being misunderstood, which is the lust ritual. I think that's where everyone thinks we're doing orgies, which is not true. But that is a ritual purely where you put the intention out to attract a partner. So if you want a partner in that sense, then you are again going to either write down the list of everything you want in your partner, or you're going to have a visualization of what you want in your partner, and then summoning the energy in order to attract that partner. That is a ritual as well, not necessarily something that we will be doing as the church really, or something in a group in that sense, because that's a very private, individual ritual. We can't do a ritual where everyone wants the same thing in a partner. It's individual in that sense. But that is where that's what I've been saying to the media as well. Like that ritual needs to be really understood within the context of Satanism, and that it's a very private ritual. And I think that is where we also stand firmly. Like if you're not a Satanist, you're going to misinterpret what's going on here because you're not going to understand the context in which it happens. Just like, for instance, if I to attend a ritual with another religion, I'm not necessarily going to understand what they are busy doing in that sense. And that is sort of concept of everything. And again, someone asked me yesterday, so if someone wants to, I thought it was quite a funny question, if someone wanted to test out Satanism, but you won't come to a ritual to see if they like it, my take on that is like you're not going to be a Satanist because you attended a ritual. That's not the defining factor as to whether this is going to work for you or not. You need to decide for yourself based on, like we said to everyone, go read the Satanic Bible, decide for yourself if that is you or not. Many people are going to it's not them, and that's 100% fine. We've had people in the past, just at the beginning of this year, saying, I want to find out more. We like go read the Satanic Bible. Then they come back and say, you know what, actually this isn't for me. I had a misunderstanding of it, and I'm not interested. 100%. I'm very happy for you, then you do that. But the ritual concept is, again, putting the intention forward, raising the energy, and then letting it be.
Yeah. What I just would like to add, because we said that that was the words actually, is that certain rituals is closed. People assume to be mean that no public is allowed. There is meetings that we used to do before lockdown, especially with Bible study and things like that, where anybody was welcome, as well as our workshop that we offer. So everybody is welcome to attend that, and now it's being streamed online. So that certainly is available. And that is also a very good grasp or for people to actually see what Satanism is and if it would work for them. But the reason why rituals is private is because of the people that is in our congregation that own very big companies in South Africa, people who are on television and people who are in medical professions. I mean, and we've known these people for years. We've been practicing together. So we're not necessarily going to allow a new group of people to immediately interact with them. But let's say we have a group of new members, certainly going to have rituals for them together until they say yes, of course. But I have to also say what Audrey's saying is very important. So Satanism is not like another church where you can, come in and just see if this will work for you. You have to really understand what Satanism is about. And that's why we suggest and we highly recommend that people read the Satanic Bible, because you're definitely going to know if you resonate with it or not.
Sure. And you've also said, well, now and on Facebook, that once people have read the Satanic Bible and they feel that they are interested in joining, they can then send you a message. And that one of the main criteria is that you have to be at least 18 years old. And you have explained that decision. But what else do you look at when you decide if you would like someone to join the church, if someone's come forward to apply?
Yeah, so one of the big things that our council, so once you put that membership application form through with the website, the council gathers, and then it's a council of 7 people, and we sit around the table and we go through the application. So from the questions that you've answered, we're either going to get a sense of you understand what Satanism is or you don't, okay? Once we get the idea from what you've written in your application that this person potentially understands Satanism, then we bring you in for an interview. Then we chat more with you. We see, is this actually someone who understands Satanism? Are they just someone coming from another religion, and they're being very angry? Or is this someone who thinks this is devil worshipping?
Or a rich type of
like the Illuminati thing or whatever.
Then we obviously
so the process is very much in sifting through a lot of things first to see, does this align with it, do they not align with it? There's been a lot of people that we said as well, you know what, this doesn't seem like you align with it, go read the Satanic Bible again, let's see, or join the online Bible study, let's get to know you a bit more, because we're not 100% sure about your intentions here. And there's a lot of processes that we go through. It's not just you fill in a form and now you're a member. There's quite at this stage, with the amount of membership forms, this is going to be a very lengthy process for new people. But like we've said many times as well, we're not really interested in new people. They didn't come out here to get new people to come in.
Yes.
We just came out here to bring that sense of we are not devil worshippers, stop blaming us for crimes.
And to educate the public on what Satanism is. Because we have been practicing Satanism for a certain amount of years as a group of people. So the members, the people that have been members for many years, we've always talked about this idea that there needs to be a body or a federation or some type of thing that would represent above board Satanism, as to educate the public. So, as Audrey said, we didn't start, or we didn't register the organization to recruit new people into Satanism. It's really to bring that awareness and education and to represent Satanists in South Africa.
And in one of your videos, you mentioned that you either have been or you may be working with the police in future to help with satanic ritual abuse cases. So have you been able to help the police yet, or is this still something that you are in discussion about?
Since we've registered and been out there, no satanic, and not that there is such a thing as satanic crime, but no occult crime has been reported. So the 3 police that we are in contact with, they are station commanders of certain major police stations. So they would certainly, if they need our input, so it's not going to be every case, but should they need our input to look at what type of ritual was done here, what symbols was used, to at least tell, yes, this is Satanism, or no, it's not.
Yeah, and we're also obviously keeping our eyes peeled for any media news that's coming forward regarding occult crimes and satanic crimes, and we made a point of it to respond to that when it does come across our attention. So, because there's a lot of things that even these investigators are bringing forward, so we just from the past, in that sense, is like that is not a satanic thing, you know. someone who was on drugs. Clearly, you can see it.
Definitely.
Or they're psychotic, or there's psychosis involved. So up until now, as a registered body, unfortunately, nothing has happened, luckily, in that sense, if I can say it like that. But yeah, we're definitely keeping our eyes peeled. We've got contacts in that sense, and to bring that sense through, yeah.
Cool. I had a question come in about one of the satanic statements, specifically about not turning the other cheek. And they wanted to know if the sense of vengeance is something that's more of a natural consequence that you believe in, or if you believe in enacting some sort of vengeance yourself.
So I'll answer that first. So what that is about is that we're not the type of religion that's going to love our enemy.
Sure.
But we're also not going to be the people that will first. A Satanist will never attack another person first, in whatever form of way. But let's say somebody does harm us or act with malicious intent towards us, whether it's gossip or whether it is something more aggressive like physical harm, etc. We then believe that that person should be held responsible and should feel the consequences on a similar level. Do you understand? So we will then confront the person and we will try to balance that. And quite often, sometimes it's also not needed. Sometimes people, there's immediately consequences for them. But yeah, it is about not turning the other cheek. It is about, because if we love our enemies, we are lying to ourselves. Because there is certain religious text that's going to say, love thy enemy, etc. It is a very, very deceitful thing to expect any human being to love their enemies. If you love your enemy, are you not at his mercy?
Okay. So, sorry, continue.
Yeah, the other thing is as well, when you look at that part of it, is a sense as well, I am not going to, if you've done something to maliciously harm me, because it also says in Satanic Bible, if someone bugs you, tell them to stop. If they continue, tell them to stop. If they then still continue, then hold them accountable. They need to be responsible for their actions. So if you continuously going to stalk me or do something to hurt me or my family, your natural instinct is going to be to want to protect yourself. And that is you're going to call for help, or you're going to make a case, or you're going to do something in that sense. You're not just going to say, I'm sorry for them, the shame, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to pray for them to change their ways. I'm going to actually go and I'm going to get legal assistance, or I'm going to make a case, do something in that sense. So that is pretty much what that means in that way. I'm going to call you out on your nonsense.
Sure. I think there's also some misunderstanding, or maybe just an assumption that when you mean you should take vengeance, that there's an element of a curse involved or setting bad intentions on someone. And do you think
there could be?
Okay.
Most certainly. The thing is, to explain black magic, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. To explain satanic witchcraft or black magic is that the way that it's done, if you, or not you, but the person that it's directed at, if you had no intent to harm a Satanist, that curse is not going to affect you. Do you understand? Okay. So, but if your intent was to, that curse will definitely, on the same level and on the same energy from the same center that you've done that, will affect you.
And to put into context, when we're discussing a curse as well, I think it's also because people don't understand, again, what that actually means. It basically means I'm taking the energy you're sending to me, and I'm sending it straight back to you. So if you were guilty, the arrow is going to go back to you. It's like a boomerang.
Yes,
it's like if you throw the boomerang my way, I'm going to throw it right back at you. And so if you're guilty, it's hit you, and if you're not guilty, it's not going to hit you. So if you're not guilty, you really have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, but certainly we don't want people to think we are going around cursing people randomly. It takes a lot of energy.
It's very tiring to do that. So you got to pick your battles. So it really is just for that really, really drastic situation. Where you would choose to take that time and energy to do that. It's not something you do like that
Yes.
There's a process, there's a preparation process, there's thinking about it, there's thinking of consequences about it. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just like, I'm going to curse you. And then it's, it's not like that.
And I mean, also what I've seen from experience, even before I was a Satanist, when I was already doing, working with the natural law or magic, as described, is that most people that is on a destructive path, they already destroy themselves. So I mean, why do you want to put your energy and resources into doing that if they're already on a path? You understand?
So something I say is that if someone's going out to destroy something else, so for instance, someone's doing bad things or they're trying to hurt me or whatever, I would always say, well, you know what, they've cursed themselves already just because of the behavior. Because immediately if I look at the consequence of the behavior, I'm like, you sorted, I don't have to do anything. You've cursed yourself with what you're doing. Like, I'm getting my hands dirty here. That's my take on Lisa on it.
Just shifting a bit, or maybe not, but someone wanted to know how the church feels about alchemy and whether that comes into play in your belief system.
Okay. Absolutely. So yes, alchemy to us is, if we think of all the planes of existence, right? Or as some people talk about, as above, so below. So that is literally being able to take from different places, not just third-dimensional, and combine different things on energetic levels to create the exact outcome that you want. That is what alchemy is. And of course, that is very much satanic practice. So anything that you might use or apply to better yourself or to have the best possible outcome is alchemy, and that is very much Satanism.
It's witchcraft.
It's witchcraft.
Yeah,
yes.
alchemy is witchcraft. It's using natural laws to bring forward your intention.
Sure. I'm sure you're both aware of Black Lives Matter movements in America and in some cases in South Africa.
Yes.
And I was thinking a bit about what you believe in terms of vengeance and taking action against people who have wronged you. So what is the church's stance on the actions taken by Americans in response to police brutality?
Well, we actually have made the choice initially not to get involved with anything from other countries. We have enough in South Africa to worry about. So for that instance, we've chosen not to get involved. Something we do want to get involved in and what our people are working on is to start working with this gender-based violence thing. Because that is something that is affecting South Africa. So we are actually putting things in place to work towards women empowerment in that sense, but also towards the LGBTQ community, because they're also experiencing violence in there. And so, and that's where we say it's not just women, there's some men here as well, and there's our trans community. So we're very focused on South Africa for that sense. So Black Lives Matter, we sort of left that to America. And then we want to take over back empowering women, the LGBTQ community in that sense, because I think that's something that's affecting South African soil in that sense.
Yes. And as I mentioned earlier, the Satanic Temple is very much a political organization. So they took that on the Black Lives Matter movement, or what is currently happening, and they've run certain campaigns and they're organizing marches themselves, and mostly they're doing it for the truth to come out, which is another thing that Satanism is really about. But their angle is very political, where we are purely a religious organization.
Sure. And you've also said that you don't believe it's satanic to give money to poor people. So what are some of the initiatives that you do choose to get involved with, and how you do choose to empower people, educate them?
Yeah. So we believe that people need to be empowered in order to help themselves, right? And so if you are not doing anything to help yourself and you're not looking to get information on to help yourself, there's really not much we can do. You have people that then can support you in their organizations to support you for that. So we're looking more into the organizations that are doing something to help empower people in that sense. So we are very big at this point. We're currently working with animal shelters because, again, the animals should be protected at all costs. Their energy is closest to source energy in that sense. So, so we very much about that. And like we've said as well, again, people who are looking to empower themselves, those we can help. But you can't help someone if they're not asking for help. And you can't help someone if they don't want to help themselves.
Sure. And you have made it clear that you're not looking to recruit people, and you're especially not looking to recruit children at all. But do you think that there's an opportunity to educate children, especially in a sense where South African governments focus so much on including religious educations in schools. For example, at my high school, we had a whole several weeks dedicated to members of different religious organizations come in and give talks. Do you think that's something you would be interested in?
So that is unfortunately not happening as much anymore. I would personally love it if they say, yes, all religions can come and talk to children at school. So most certainly in that type of environment, we would talk to children. But that is a school, I would like to believe, is an environment where children are protected. So it will be a safer environment for them and for us to come and talk to children in that way. So I don't know if that answers the question.
I think it's also just a case of, they're still it will be quite some time before they'll ever allow us to probably do that because of the misconception. But I think for me personally, if I had someone came to my school and sort of explained to me, like, this is what Christianity is, this is what Islam is, this is what Hindu is, this is what a Buddhist is, and this is what a Satanist is, that would have been really beneficial to my sense of religious education. I mean, I had to go study those things after school because I had an interest in it. But I think in school, if we can have a better sense of understanding of what different religions are, not just our religion, all religions, there will be a greater sense of respect to each other, just in South Africa in that sense. Because currently we're seeing a lot of misunderstandings and obviously not respect and acceptance for different religions in that way, because people don't have the information to understand what the other person is about.
Yeah.
And I think we'll clear up a lot of issues.
And what is beautiful about South Africa is we live in a perfect country to uphold religious plurality because of our constitution. So it's not so much, again, about telling people that Satanism is for everybody and that it's of the masses, because certainly it's never going to be, and we don't want it to be. We know, I mean, we are very realistic when we say that Satanism is a religion for the minority. It is for a select few people who are already leaders in their fields and people who want to be the best version of who they are. And that's why we also say that Satanists are already born. So you don't become a Satanist via the religion. You are born a Satanist because you aspire to be a certain type of person. And then somewhere in life, you see, but there's a philosophy that codifies everything that I actually already believe in, and that's the way I live my life.
Yeah, and I think just to add, in no way in us just wanting to educate, say, for children what the religion is it us saying you need to come be part of us. Like, we're not interested. And that's also why we put the 18 age gap in there, because for you to know that you're a Satanist and to have an understanding of what that means and to know yourself on that level where you can associate with it, you need to have a certain intellect and a certain sense of maturity. And part of your reasoning abilities, even develop in your brain, doesn't develop until you're early 20s.
Yes.
And so to say a young child can reason as to whether they are or isn't, that doesn't line up for me, because you're not going to know enough to know this part. And that's part of why we put that age. And we've had younger people who got very upset with us when they reached out on Facebook. They said, sorry, we can't help you, we can't let you into the groups. And they were like, that's terrible. And I said, but that's exactly why you can't be part of it, because you don't have the reason to realize this is there to protect you. Just like you can't drink and you can't drive before 18. There's certain things you have to have a sense of maturity for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also life experience.
Yeah.
Something that children are very involved with, though, is Dungeons and Dragons, which a lot of people feel is satanic. What do you think about that, considering the different elements that are involved in the role-playing and lore?
To be very honest with you, Snakes and Ladders is more satanic than Dungeons and Dragons. For real.
Sure.
Yeah, I think the sense of fantasy and the imagination that's being created with children who play Dungeons and Dragons, in the part where people say this is satanic, I think it's people largely, a lot of people becoming paranoid, and also I think a lot of people not understanding what the game of Dungeons and Dragons really are about.
Yes.
And that is where that misconceptions of things come in. Just like I had someone tell me the other day, she had to take her, this is now 2020, right? She had to take her kids' Ninja Turtles backpack away because the preschool phone is the ninja. That's still from the 80s. In the 80s, Ninja Turtles were satanic. But when 2020, and the child's 6 years old, and his Ninja Turtle backpack couldn't go to school because it's satanic. Like, that is bizarre.
So to all concerned parents, they shouldn't be worried about cartoons or games being a satanic influence on their children, as stated by the South African Satanic Church.
No.
My last question is potentially a broader discussion, but I had a question come in and I want to use the specific words this person used because I feel like it would better explain what they mean. But they wanted to know if it's fair to view Satanism as a rebranding of what is essentially a religious archetype. And they went further to say that there are some non-theistic groups or non-religious groups like humanism who believe in very similar statements to the 9 satanic statements. So why is there the need to be an organization called the Satanic Church?
Okay, largely, yes, 100% that person is correct. And largely why we wanted to do it as an organization is to have that platform where we can have that voice, where we can stand up and say, this is what it is, this is what it isn't. And if you're going to say something is satanic, it needs to be satanic. And if it's not, we're going to be the ones to stand up and say, but that wasn't satanic. Just to come back again, and I'm using personal experience here, when the Curo art student from last year, when his art came out and they were the pastor came in and recorded it against the school rules and said that is not satanic art. That's not satanic art. But there was no one who come forward and say that's not satanic. The child is atheist. He claims to be atheist, and he's expressing art. And art is a way for you to experience parts of yourselves again. You see yourself in art. Which is interesting that the pastor called it satanic, because there's definitely something going on with him. Because it's a reflection. It's a reflection. Art is your mirror. But that's very much why I, at that point, pushed for this to be registered. I mean, yes, the talk was there and things were getting in place, but that was my point where I was saying we need a voice. We need a body to represent. That, yes, we've been practicing this for years, but no one has the authority in that sense, or the voice or the platform to come out and say, hey, listen, we're an official body that represents this religion, and it doesn't go into what our book says, therefore it cannot be what we practice.
Correct.
And that is the main reason why that came forward.
Yeah. And to also tie in with the question specifically. So if we look at things like humanists, atheists, those type of things, that means a very specific thing. They might not like the fact that that's also a label. And Satanism is a label. So we are against any form of oppression, any form of religious tyranny, any type of oppression. So we are against that. And the word Satan, if you look at the original translation, and I mean, we've said this many times as well, but Satan is the opposer, Satan is the questioner. So it's about asking yourself things constantly, going more inward, where a humanist or an atheist is not going to have that inward thing the whole time. So Satanism is most certainly not humanism or atheism. Satanism is also a religion where those things aren't a religion. And it's a religion because it has a dedication and there's a certain way to practice it. And that's why it's called Satanism. There's nothing else to call it.
Yeah, and I think another thing I'm just going to add here, because I know what's coming next if you put this out there. People are going to say, again, like, why label it, you know? Why can't you just be an atheist? Why can't you just be a pagan that's worshipping a horned god? And, you know, at the end of the day, when you look at a label, I think we all need to decide for ourselves whether we want to be labeled or not to be labeled. But from my experience, the moment I can stand up and say, this is who I am, or this is what I represent, there's a sense of personal empowerment that comes with that. I'm not saying I don't believe in anything. I'm saying I'm believing in myself. That's what it means to be a Satanist. And there's a sense of pride that comes with it, which is very satanic. There's a sense of empowerment that comes with it. There's a sense of having a voice like we have now. And we've given a voice to many Satanists. Just in the last week, we had so many messages from Satanists who were able to say to their employers, hey, I'm a Satanist. Or to their family, hey, I'm coming out the closet, I'm a Satanist. And it was well received because people have had a place to come to get the information. And they're starting to realize that it is something that even within the last week, the education is becoming out there and people are talking about it, people are realizing what it is, misconceptions are being fought in that sense, or the truth is coming out. So for me, it's very much about why there is a label to it. this specific label is because if you resonate with that label and you resonate with the Satanic Bible, there's a deep sense of personal empowerment that comes with adopting that label.
Sure. I think that's a really powerful note to end on there. So I'd like to thank you again for taking the time to speak to me. And if people have more questions, which platform do you prefer them to reach out to you on?
So questions in specific to obviously to Satanism and things, there's definitely the contact form on the website they can fill in.
Sure.
There's also then the South African Satanic Church Facebook page. And then if there are more, like obviously more, maybe they've read the Satanic Bible and they've got more questions about that, we've got the Friends of the South African Satanic Church Facebook page. So that is a more private group, but that is where there's more in-depth discussion surrounding the Satanic Bible and things. And it's not only like our online private group where Bible study is happening currently, which is just on first Sunday of every month. The Friends of Satanic group is a lot more open and a lot more engaging in if you want to find out something now about what the Satanic Bible means. So yeah, those are different platforms.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing more of you guys in the media and getting to know what more you'd like to be doing in the community. And I think on behalf of everyone watching as well, thank you for being so open to sharing information with everyone.